In today's video, I'm going to be showing how I do my extra smooth finish on woods like this. This is a piece of koa that, let's see, yeah, you can see that there are open pores. Now this is stabilized already, but some woods, koa sometimes has this happen, walnut, a few others, sometimes have this open pore structure that even after stabilizing, they continue to have that. So what I'm going to show is my method for filling this in. So first thing is I'm using this tight bond medium wood glue, or not wood glue, but super glue or cyanoacrylate. And there's nothing new about doing a super glue finish. Probably other folks are doing exactly what I'm about to do. I use the medium because it actually takes a little while to set up. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit on here and then actually use a piece of dry paper towel to spread that around. Now I want to make sure that where I'm spreading it around, it is actually filling the pores. It doesn't have to be like filling them entirely, but I want to make sure that I'm not seeing those little dry spots anymore. And the advantage of working this way, by spreading it around with this dry paper towel, is that I'm putting a very thin coat on there. And one of the big problems that I've had in the past with the CA finishes is that you end up with such a thick coat that it's really hard to deal with, hard to take that back in the next stage. Because now what I want to do is sand this back to clean wood again. Now one key here is I took this to 400 grit on the grinder ahead of time. And it's important that you are essentially at your finished surface before you start this process. If you've got some like real voids to fill, you can start earlier. But you don't want to be taking much material off, because if you take material off, then you might open up new pores. So what I'm going to do is just quickly run over this again on the grinder. Try to take this back clean pretty quickly. So at this stage, I'm not too worried about getting it absolutely perfectly clean, because I still need to do a little more. You can see I've still got some of these little white pores in here that are still open. So just gonna grab a new piece of paper towel. Again, you don't want a very big piece because you don't want it to soak up a lot. I do suggest folding it for multi-layers though, to make it less likely to come through. You may hear my chickens occasionally in the background. They're hanging out right around the door. very curious. They've always wanted to know how to do this finish, and I keep it a secret from them. Don't want chickens getting out there and killing my knife making career. Oop, stuck a little bit to myself. You can also, obviously, you know, wear some gloves while doing this. Probably a better plan overall. I normally do, but for the video, I was trying to work a little faster, and I work faster at this without the gloves on. So again, I'm just spreading this around, trying to make sure that it is getting down into those pores. I don't need to flood the surface as long as in spreading it around, it's really getting down in there. You can see I'm already getting a nicer look to this wood. It's a pretty nice piece of coam. I'll be excited to put this on a knife at some point. Yeah, you just need to wait till it dries. La-di-da-di-da-dum. As I understand it, part of how the CA finishes or CA glues cure is by reacting with moisture. So it's part of why they stick so well to your skin, is there's always moisture in and on your skin. You could probably use one of the accelerators if you wanted. I always find that those cause the glue to harden a little oddly. I do want to wait until it is cured though, before starting. There we go. Before sanding it back again, because otherwise it'll just smear on my belt and ruin the belt. At this stage, it can get tricky to tell where you have glue still on there and where it is all gone. Generally, you can see a difference in finish once you start to break through the glue layer. Yeah, we're just about there. So I would say I still need one more coat on this. There are still a few spots where there are pores visible. So what I'm going to do is I'll do one more coat and then finish this out. do advise doing this in an area with good air circulation, good ventilation, because this much surface area of the cyanoacrylate is pretty fierce on the eyes and nose. So again, you can see that really allows the underlying grain structure to shine through in a way that it couldn't with those pores still open. So, yeah, I'm still waiting for that to dry a little bit. So essentially, what I'm going to do is sand this back on the grinder one more time. As long as I don't still find open pores, I'll follow up with some hand sanding and then buff it. Well, we'll just say it doesn't have to be perfect for demonstration purposes. So you can see there is still a couple spots where I have just a little bit of pore, of the pores, a few of those pores still open. So I'm going to switch to 400 grit by hand. Working by hand, I find that I can see where the super glue is, if there's still any left, I can see it a lot better. And it is worth getting it all down clean because those, especially if they're little splotches of super glue, they show up. So like at this end right here, we can see where there was still some super glue left, and just about gone. And again, for demonstration purposes, doesn't need to be perfect. You'll be able to see a lot better when you try this yourself, how it works out. So, finished up 400 grit by hand. Like I said, there are still some pores here that on a knife handle I would go back and correct those. But for this, I'm going to call it good. I don't feel like editing this video for length, so now I've switched to a 600 grit. Just going over it quickly. Yeah, there's a particular patch right over here where the pores are particularly visible still. Oop, forgot to close my super glue here. So last thing I'm going to do is just quickly, last thing I'm going to do by hand, just quickly burnish that with some superfine steel wool. I find that it's very effective on the stabilized woods. And we'll quickly dry buff this. Just shift you folks over there so you get a better view. So, here we have it. You can see it didn't close up all those pores perfectly, but even just with that fairly quick series of finishing steps, I have come up with almost a mirror polish on this wood, a mirror finish on this wood. So thanks for watching, and as always, drop questions below or on my Instagram at Peter Burt Knives. Thanks for watching.